Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sal Santori Show. And today we are asking you to take 30 with our candidates. We have, of course, our great friend and longtime guest on the show, Mr. Larry Doherty, who is indeed a veteran brother in arms. And he and Melanie Stringhill Patterson are candidates for the Fayette County Republican Party committeeman position, and it's not a choice of either or. They, as well as the third candidate, are all able to get elected for doing the best job together for Fayette County. So, Larry, welcome to the show. We're
Thank
going
you.
to jump right over here and we're going to chat a little bit with Melanie. We have a little bit of video glitches going on today. So Melanie was kind enough to take a break in her extremely busy day and visit with us, even though it's audio only. So, Melanie, thank you for taking the time to come visit with us. We really appreciate it. Give us a little bit of an idea of who is Melanie Stringhill Patterson. How did you start out? And then we'll take a look at how we got to where we are today.
Okay, well, thank you, Sal, for inviting me and Larry. It's a pleasure to see you guys here together. Former veterans. I come from a family of veterans. My dad and his brothers were all World War II veterans, so I have a passion in my heart for men who sacrifice, and cousins, and currently have people in the military. So, proud of all that you do, and thank you for your sacrifices. But actually, I come at this from a real world perspective. I'm a former teacher, inventor, manufacturer, and a small businesswoman, and a developer of unique destinations in our region right now. My good old days house, my vacation house rental that's been open since 2009 in Belle Vernon, Pennsylvania, was just featured on KDKA, their morning show, Pittsburgh Today Live, in their Cool Houses segment. So I've been enjoying building things, creating opportunities, and bringing ideas to life. That's what I'm all about. When I worked in education, I developed products, I built businesses, and I helped promote and grow tourism right here in southwestern Pennsylvania. So I'm running for state committee because I believe Fayette County needs strong representation, better communication, and leadership that knows how to actually get things done. So you could call me an organizer, a builder, and a truth teller, just like Larry.
I couldn't agree with you more. And listening to the things that you've accomplished, and I was aware of the you being on the show in Pittsburgh. I thought that was absolutely fantastic to have you
Thank you.
on there. But you're definitely uh, a go-getter, a self-starter. Am I right?
Well, you absolutely 100% spot on there, Sal. I'm not a career politician. Like I said, I build things. I built businesses. I've patented a baby product, and I manufactured it right here in Uniontown, actually Fayette County. So I built teams to make those things happen. It just doesn't happen with one person. You got to build a team. And here in
Right.
2022, I helped build the Republican Party that actually won, and we turned things around. We turned Fayette County red in 2022. Proud of that, with the team that we built with the
Tell us
Republican
a
Party.
little about that, Melanie. Tell us a little bit about that because it obviously it's a record of success.
Well, yeah, you know what makes me a little bit different here when I got involved in 2022 as an elected precinct committee person. I didn't just talk about change with the people on our team, which included John Marietta, Michelle Mowry was our chairwoman at the time, Elliot Mazer was really awesome, Dawn Kapolka was fantastic. So I joined that team in 2022, and we recruited members. We started fundraising. We had two successful clay shoots in 2023 and 2024. We had dinner theaters. We sold tickets. And the county fairs were especially fun at the same time. We had fun with that, and we helped flip this county red. So it was that team that we put together back in 2022. And, that's what I'm hoping to achieve here as I run for state committee and precinct committee person to fix what is broken in our county. And I think Larry
Mhm.
can help me, and so can Dale, if we get elected as your three state committee people to represent Fayette County.
Well, we definitely know Larry is good with building teams as well. We've talked a lot, Larry and I, on a couple of shows, and one of the things we hit on was the fact that he had attained the rank of E6 Staff Sergeant in the Army, which is a definite leadership position. Um Larry, tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about uh, some of the things you did as a staff sergeant in a leadership position.
Well, I pretty much just made sure that the lower ranking guys had their equipment. They were ready to do whatever mission we needed to get done. I was actually the motor sergeant for the motor platoon as a fill-in, so I was in charge of making sure all the guys did all the PMCSs and on the military vehicles, along with just the daily upkeep on the vehicles, dispatching the vehicles. Actually given driving tests to the lower enlisted to make sure that they qualified for the driver's licensing tests. I ran weapons ranges while I was in to make sure that each individual qualified. And just made phone calls and made sure that the guys were prepared for the drill weekends and for the 2 weeks of summer camp, and touched base with them and made sure that everything was good with them.
Now, as a leader, you were responsible for everything that you mentioned. If there was a question, they wouldn't go to your subordinates; they would come directly to you. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I basically just handled all and anything internal with my platoon, and made sure that the things were done and that the guys were good to go.
Okay. Melanie, you mentioned being an inventor and creator, which takes a special type of mindset to be able to have those creative abilities. What are some of the things that you would like to bring to Fayette County once you're elected?
Well, there's many things. I believe that communication, transparency, and accountability, that's what's missing. And that's what I want to bring back. And that's crucial in all areas, whether you're working in a job, in your own family. I think, you miss any one of those parts, you're doomed for failure. I want to represent Fayette County from the inside in the Republican Party. And I want to make sure that the voices of the people are heard, not just control from the insiders. If we want to win, we need to act like a team again, not a private club. And I'm reminded with the Pittsburgh Penguins, if you're a hockey fan, you want to win right now. And when they play as a team, they can get that Stanley Cup. And that's what I think in Fayette County. If we play as a team in this party, Republican Party, I think we can win again. I'm not just running for state committee. I'm also running as a precinct committee person. So that puts you in the trenches as a precinct committee person. And, I've been there. I know exactly what's working and I know what's not. And I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to rebuild this party in Fayette County. That's what wins. And we can do it. I have full faith in Larry and Del Custer that we would bring about change. You can't keep doing the same thing. You get the same results. That's what we're not seeing happening here in Fayette County. So we've got to bring some creative people, some input. People have texted me, private messages I've got, people have become interested. I think the way that we can do that is to have ordinary people step up in this May and have 10 or 12 people write their name in as a precinct committee person. And that's how we build the team. We have to build the team from the inside in Fayette County of Christian, conservative Republicans who are pro-family, pro-life, and pro-gun, and pro-America. Bring back the USA, make it great again. We can build a team here in Fayette County. We need to do that and hold our elected officials accountable through communication, transparency, and accountability. That's what I kind of want to do. It's a big task, huh, Larry? But we can do it.
Larry has been talking the same thing as far as transparency and accountability, and we're gonna pick up with that in just a second. But I want to go back to something you said, Melanie, about the precinct committee position and building a team or building teams. Of course, it would take multiple when you break it down. You had mentioned the process that folks could follow to become involved, to become part of to help build a team. Could you tell us about that again, please?
Well, exactly. There are 67 precincts throughout Fayette County, and the precinct is your polling station. That's where you vote on election day. And there are 67 of them in Fayette County. So if each precinct has 2 or 3 committee members that are elected in that precinct, then we have a team. You're talking about a Republican Party committee of about 150 members. That's never happened in the past 3 years, from 2022 to 2025. We only had maybe a fourth to a third of those positions filled. So they're empty. And to be honest with you, in 2022, when I ran, I got my name on the ballot. 10 people wrote my name in 2022. And when you have 10 people, because no one writes their name in, no one even is aware of that, of a precinct committee person. And that's your neighborhood. That's the people in your neighborhood. Those are the people that you talk to, that you should send letters to or notes to. Hey, Susie, you're going to vote this election. I mean, that's the personal grassroots connection that's been missing in the Fayette County Republican Party for over a decade. We've had people on the committee in the past that have told me, oh, good luck, Melanie. They left because they felt shut out. And that's the current feeling right now. People are leaving as committee people because they don't feel like they're being heard. They've got closed meetings right now. I mean, you can only come if you're invited, and you're not allowed to take questions from the crowd. I mean, who does that? When you belong to a women's club or a Kiwanis club, or Rotary clubs, that's not how they run those organizations. Right. It's open to the people. They want your input. They want you involved. But that hasn't been the case here, and we want to change that. We want to fix what's broken. We want to turn that around. We're not playing politics. We want to rebuild, and we want to win and bring Fayette County back again. And we do that through holding people accountable, asking for communication and transparency. Something as simple as the minutes of the meeting and a treasurer's report. Committee members currently have no idea what those are. I have a friend that's on committee whose father-in-law is ill and in and out of hospice and can't make it to the meetings. Well, they've cut off the Zoom meetings. So even if you can't make it in person, you used to be able to watch it on a Zoom meeting and hear what was going on. You don't even have that now. And as far as a secretary or treasurer giving the committee members a report, that's non-existent. The only time we had anything like that occur was when Michelle Mowry was our treasurer, and she would have the minutes or have a copy of the treasurer's report so that you could go over it. If it wasn't sent to you in an email, which it was, I believe it was, you can come to the meeting prepared to know for questions. But if you're not transparent and you don't know what's going on, how do you run a committee like that? That's a private club to me.
Yeah, Larry, you've been talking basically the same message, to take this from being like a fist of good old boy control to like working for the people again. That's exactly what you've been saying, the exact same thing.
Yeah, and the thing is that the party's for the voters. It's for the Republican voters. It's not for the select few. And whenever they start doing the select few and only a few people can say, and do things, that's not right. The voters are the party, and that's what I'm going to work for, because essentially they're my bosses. I answer to them. I don't answer to the chairperson. I don't answer to whomever, and I won't. I give you my word that I'm my own person. I stand on my own 2 feet. I have my own ideas, and I will work for the people of Fayette County. I'll be their sheepdog. I will protect their voices. I will make sure that their concerns are heard. And that's my guarantee. I mean, I've defended this country for almost 18 years, and I'm not done defending them yet. And I said, and what better place is to put my boots down on Fayette County soil and defend the very people that has supported me through my 18 years of service.
You got my vote for sure, Larry. Yeah, I've said many times that your heart shows through. A very good heart, very strong heart, very humble heart, and that's a rare quality, especially when we're talking about being in the midst of the giants who are the political, the politicos, the old guard, the ones that have been there forever, and kind of have that fist control over what's going on. And it's for them, it's not about the people.
Exactly.
Not about the people. So hearing both you and Melanie with that message about, basically bringing it back to focus, bringing the pendulum back to center and really working for the folks in Fayette County is what it's really all about, how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. What you were saying, Sal, too, how people can get involved. Here's a little call of action. Is on election day, if they want to become a precinct committee person in their precinct, and if they don't know who their precinct committee person is, well, guess what? There probably isn't one. And you can be the next precinct committee person.
Okay.
Is to have 10 or 11 people on election day write your name in on the ballot. It will say precinct committee person. And there'll be 2 or 3 empty spaces there. Have them write your name in if you're interested in. And you will get the votes and you will become an elected precinct committee person. You are, now it's not a paid position. It's not a government job. It's just representing Fayette County in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And to make sure that your voice is heard and that you can reach out to the voters, to the Republicans in your neighborhood and get a connection, to hear their voice, to hear what their concerns are about our elected officials. Whether it be Scott Dunn, Pat Stefano, any of our elected Republican officials, we need to hold them accountable. There are things going on in the county right now that many questions are arising and we're not getting answers. So that's how you can get involved. It's as easy as that. Find 10 or 11 people to write your name on the ballot in the May primary, and you will be elected as your precinct committee person. And that's how we build that team. So I'm recruiting people right now. Let's open it up. You can't build a team by shutting people out. We don't win by shutting people out. We win by bringing people into the party. And that's the kind of party that I'm fighting for here in the Republican Party. So that's what we're all fighting for, right, Larry? Is to bring more people into the circle and not shut them out. That's how you win. When I had my inventions, manufactured my product, I didn't do it by myself. I did it with a team of people. And you reach out to people you hear, just like the President Trump is doing with his cabinet meetings. He hears from everybody. He wants input from anybody. And then he does what he thinks is the right thing to do and the right direction to move this country. But you have to have good people surrounding you here. And there are good people in Fayette County. Larry's one of them. Dale has stepped up to the plate. Many other precinct committee people are also stepping up to the plate in Fayette County. It's time to reverse the what do you call it? The direction that we're going in Fayette County to a new level.
Right. Larry, you and I have talked pretty extensively about some of the things that are being seen in Fayette County. And I know, we've talked about this before, but just for the benefit of our listeners who may not have, and I couldn't imagine there could possibly be anyone who hasn't seen our show yet. But just for the benefit of those who may not have seen it, tell us a little bit more about some of the things that you're bringing. We talked a little bit about the transparency and the responsibility to the folks there, the citizens.
Well, I think what I bring to the table is the work ethic, the tendency of a bulldog to make sure that things are done right, correctly, and the guarantee that I'll be working for the voters. The old line of "I've been in the trenches" is true. I'm right in the trenches with the voters. Myself as a voter, I want my voices heard, so I can imagine what the voters want and they expect, and that's how it should be. I believe that my experience of being in the military and being able to lead folks in battle and to be able to lead platoons and things like that has prepared me for this. And it's not a battle. It's the right thing to do. It should never be a battle, even though it's politics. We should be working strictly for the people of Fayette County. And I believe that I'll bring my heart and soul and again, my work ethic and my morals and my values to the table. I can't stress that enough that, I want to work for the people of Fayette County, the Republican voters of Fayette County. I want to work for them. I'm not going to answer to the bosses or politicians or things like that. I can't be bought. I can't be sold. My wife tells me I'm hard-headed. I've got one direction and I've got the blinders on. You either go along with me or kind of get out of the way, so to speak. Because the bottom line is that I'm here for the voters and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't hear any gray area there. It's like, yeah, yeah. To hear you speak is like, we know that's what we're gonna get. That's what you're doing, and that's not something you're gonna start doing all of a sudden. You're not gonna make changes to be able to fulfill what you're telling people you'll do. This is all about who you've been, who you are.
Correct. Ask a couple company commanders in my past.
Right. What do we say in the military? Lead, follower, out of the way.
Exactly. And the thing is that the voters are my platoon, and I will take care of them to the best of my ability and until I have no strength left. And that's how I am. My wife tells me I care too much. She said that's one of the biggest problems with my DNA. She said you care entirely too much for people. But the thing is that it's time that good caring people step up to the plate and like Melanie and like Dale and all the other precinct members to be able to take control of this and say, hey, listen, the party is for the people. It's not for the chairperson or this person or that person. The decisions are made in the primaries of who we will support, and hopefully the people of Fayette County will get behind us and support us.
Well, you know what? I'm real excited to hear about the precinct captains and the fact that I won't say it's easy, but there's a definite process to filling all those voids. Melanie, you were telling us about.
Oh,
That's exciting to know. It's like not just, oh well, geez, they have nobody there. Well, they have nobody there, but guess what? There can be somebody there, and that's pretty exciting to know.
yeah. Well, and that's how they wanted it. That's how, the group, the club wanted it. They wanted it private because
Right.
prior to that, I mean, I've been a Republican, 20 years, 30 years. I never knew about it. Lived in Fayette County for 36 years. Never knew it. Always thought those little ladies that sit there, at the precinct, that they're special and they're, government people. I didn't understand at all how you could get involved. It wasn't until the 2020 election that was stolen from us that I became a judge of elections. I
Okay.
think you're a judge of elections too, Larry, aren't you?
Yep, I sure am.
So yeah, we got off the sidelines. We saw something that we didn't like, and we wanted to be a part of the solution instead of the, problem. And we became judge of elections, and had that for 2 or 3 years. We've been involved with that. That's how you get involved. And I'm asking people now. This is the time to get involved to save our country, to save our county. We need, strong Christian faith, God fearing, whatever you call it, that need to be rooted in God, faith, family, and freedom. And we will do that. We will lead the people and hope that our leaders will do what's right for Fayette County. I think we can do that. We can build him. Something else that I didn't say that I mentioned that I built
Okay.
was last year. I am the founder of the MAGA Conservatives of Pennsylvania Pact. It's
Oh, really?
yes. The purpose of the MAGA Conservatives of Pennsylvania PAC is to identify, support, and promote candidates across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who uphold the principles of the America First movement advanced by President Donald Trump. Candidates may be of any political party, provided they support constitutional liberty, economic nationalism, election integrity, pro-life policies, border security, and individual freedoms. And what we started that for was to help, again, the people in your neighborhood, the school board directors, the little guy that works during the day raising a family but would like to get involved as a school director or a township supervisor or a council member. They don't have the money or the means or the contacts to get their word out. So this
Right.
MAGA PAC of Pennsylvania would be able to provide, yard signs or business cards or slate cards that they need to hand out on the day of election, and help them get the word out so that we get, our grassroots people elected into these positions. So that's why I started the MAGA Conservatives of Pennsylvania PAC last year in June and July is when I started it. And then we had our first concert in the end of October. We brought Larry Greenwood into the State Theater, and we collected funds and raised money for the Turning Point organization. And also, Larry, we gave a donation to the Pennsylvania Farmers Network
Yep.
in Pennsylvania. And, it was exciting. It was a great concert. Lee Greenwood was wonderful. You can't get any more American than, God bless the USA. It's
Right.
almost like a prayer when he prays that song. Everybody in the audience stands up, you hold your heart, you take off your hat, and you sing, God bless the USA. It's just really kind of a great time to be in this county, and it's a great time to get involved. And we sure hope that people will step up as a precinct committee person and help us build this strong team in Fayette County. I know we can do it. Right, Larry? We can do it.
Absolutely.
You betcha. You betcha. Larry has
That's how
a
we turn things
proven-
around. I mean, people get frustrated. We can't change the world. We can't change things that are happening, in California or Florida, but we can change things in our neighborhood and in our precinct. And that's where the power is with us. We, the people, we think that our elected officials are the people that we need to, we need to have respect for them, but we need to hold them accountable.
Right.
There are things that,
The fact that they work for us, the voters, has been like a long forgotten truth.
yes, we're not kidding. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to remind them that we're going to take our power back. We're going to take our elections back, and
Yeah.
belongs to we the people. We can't do that.
Exactly. And I'm honored because I'm here with two folks who have proven track records of winning. Winning, knowing how to get the job done, knowing how to involve others to help get the job done, and then knowing how to lead to get the job done. It's pretty honorable. I'm feeling quite honored about that. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
Larry, I wanted to ask you, coming back from the military, and I know you've been farming and teaching others to farm, and a real advocate for farming and those who are not just the farmers, but other folks that are involved. Tell us a little bit about the state farming aid program.
The PA Veteran Farmer Project
Right.
that I belong to, uh, it's more like a network to where they
Okay.
put folks in touch with resources in order to help them. And then also there's grant writers that will help you write for grants and things like that. And one of the biggest things is that we're expected to mentor other veterans that's coming off of either active duty, National Guard, or just wants to get into farming. So I've been blessed to where I've been able to mentor quite a few of them. And that's a pretty big passion is, I call it a veterans helping veterans, because, we're able to help them transition, do something they like, do something they enjoy. My wife says do something that costs money, but yeah, I mean, it's a real honor and a privilege to be able to help the folks that's coming off of active duty and National Guard and reserves, and they're kind of looking for their own place. And I feel real blessed to be able to help them along that way, as far as to show them, hey, farming is good for you, farming's bad for you. What do you think of it? And my biggest thing is that being a disabled veteran and being combat injured, I always tell the veterans, don't let the disability define you. You define the disability. You don't use it as a crutch. You don't use it as a get me out card and things like that. You push forward, because that's what we're trained to do. The flag is always flying, facing forward, and that's what we need to proceed to do. And that includes with the Republican Party. We need to be continuing going forward, moving forward, advancing. And that's why I tell veterans that are coming back that I'm mentoring, is that we need to keep pushing forward, no matter how hard it gets or how down you get. You have to keep pushing forward.
This is perfect. This is perfect. We're out of time for today, but I would really like for us to visit again very quickly to continue this conversation, because we're getting into the veteran community and a lot of things that we're doing for veterans. Obviously, there's always way more to do. And I'd like to continue this conversation with you, Larry, as a veteran, and what things we can improve on. And also, Melanie, you come from a long line of military families. And as you said, you're very appreciative of the sacrifices our troops make. I would really like to include you as well, so we can have further conversations on just how we can benefit the veteran community as well.
Mhm.
So this is Al Santori saying thank you both for coming on the show.
Can I
And I
say
really appreciate the time you took to visit with us. And as always, each and every week,